This is Joaquin Xavier from the Voice Party Podcast. This episode has been brought to you by All Roads Overhead Garage Doors. Call now, 510-375-8756. That's 510-375-8756. Get your garage door today. Oh.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're at the Voice Party. I don't know how to start it. We got to work on that at the beginning because he's hella good at starting the show. He starts his show. What's up, everybody? His hands are swinging. Motherfuckers, y'all at the go to work fitness. No, he doesn't say that, but I need a good way to start it. Maybe we could figure that out by the end of the show.
Oh, heck yeah.
Definitely swing your hands.
Yeah, but no one can see.
I mean, there's a billion different ways to start the party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
There's what I heard a very wise, experienced person, an artist and entertainer say, like, you know, a lot of people will tell you that there is no wrong way to do anything, right? But that's wrong. But that's incorrect. There's maybe 200 different ways to do something right, but there's definitely a wrong way to do it, motherfucker. Samuel Jackson said that. In case the motherfucker wasn't indicative of who said that.
Right.
There's definitely a wrong way to do things when, especially a lot of times you think you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Right. But there's at least 200 or more ways to do it right. So, and I like that because it just shows there's many ways to, like, you know, bomb first, as Tupac said it.
Mm.
Speaking of doing things wrong, like, you know I want to bring this up, especially, first of all, let's welcome to the Voice Party a very special guest, Mr. Evan LG Francis.
Yo.
AKA Mr. Go to Work.
Mr. Go to Work.
What's good?
How you doing, dude?
I appreciate being on here. I'm great today. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just I wanted to have you on, especially since Joaquin's gone through his change, and the three of us have been working together a little bit, and we've been talking about because he's changed, and then he feels left out because he's got no one to eat Krispy Kreme donuts at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
and
just call me. You have my number.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
No, and speaking of doing things wrong, like when you're trying to go healthy, you know, and change your lifestyle, you kind of start letting yourself go and like, oh, I'm doing this right still, but you're not. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know you know what I'm talking about. You're going through it right now.
Because you tell yourself, like, oh, I'll get right back on that diet tomorrow. I'll be okay.
One pumpkin spice latte with all this sugar won't hurt.
Exactly. But then, like, one pumpkin spice latte turns into 2 pumpkin spice lattes. And then you find yourself eating a leaf of lettuce going, see, this balances everything out. But that's the kind of thinking that got you fat in the first place.
No, that's true. Like, well, people don't understand. Well, first and foremost, let me go ahead.
Yeah.
And
tell them what you do.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Let me go ahead and introduce myself a little bit. So, let me bring up the energy. What's going on, people? This is Evan LG Francis, a.k.a. Mr. Go to Work, the host of the world's first fitness variety show, Go to Work Fitness, Richmond's first professional wrestler ever, King Francis, you know, and just an all-around great host. I host different events. I go around the bay and do different things. We've done a little bit of everything. Phil, you know, the guy who engineers here, he's also, you know, director and editor. And Joaquin over here, who's over here as well, he serves as also a director and a producer of the show too. So, you know, it's a team effort. So the background on that kind of thing for me is, you know, 5 years ago before we even started doing that stuff, I was a big dude, so I was much bigger than I was, and you know, dropped like 65, 70 pounds,
right on.
and been able to keep it off for like the past like 5-6 years, and then help other people. You know what I mean? Be able to do that. And what I done found is it's about habits. See, you could say what you were saying about the lattes and all that other stuff, but it's about what you do after that too. If you're drinking that every day and that's your habit and you're not doing anything to burn any calories to do anything like that, you're not doing yourself no favors. So that's why a lot of that happens is because there's a lot of unhealthy choices that get made, and then afterwards, those like after those unhealthy choices, you still don't have anything to counterbalance that. You know, so it works like
You know what? That's a good point that you brought up.
Yeah.
Because I go to Evan, you know, I'm not consistent with it, but I'm one of his clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we've been doing this, almost 3 years
Yep.
of me, like, you know, hey man, how you doing? I know I haven't seen you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Why are you fatter?
Because you haven't seen him in
Because
6
you
months.
haven't seen him in
Yeah,
6 months. But like,
yeah.
even when I was going consistent with him, like I would go and then, you know, right after we got done with our sessions, like what's on the way? We just fucking went there right now. Taco Bell.
Right.
I would stop by and get a, you know, because after, yeah, I know. You're doing the sign of the cross. Like, yeah.
I'm not even Catholic, but that's how deep this is.
And that was a really bad habit of mine. Like there's still a lot of things still I don't do well, but
Right.
it's almost like I need to have a babysitter at all times, because then I'll just let myself go with, you know, with the drinking sometimes, or the it's like, because it's so easy to just go and literally get food from a window.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's like a everyday. I wanted to talk about that because, especially, you know, you already made that change. I think we got to get on that too, Phil.
So I have a question, Evan.
What's
Like
up?
our producer has this look on his face, like, what is this wee shit?
Yeah, have fun, bro.
do you have to deal with
Reaches for Taco Bell box.
cravings?
Do I have to deal with craving?
Yeah.
So what I do with stuff like that, I think everybody's kind of a human being. So I think we all deal with something like that.
Yeah.
Like when I first really started on my journey and everything, I pretty much went stone cold turkey on everything, and it's hard to do, right? But as I kind of adjusted things and started to teach other people, I kind of learned with myself too. Like, you know, it's okay to go out there sometimes and, you know, treat yourself to something, as long as you're not making that your everyday thing, right? So, yeah, I'll have something, like, I'm a cheesecake dude. I'm a huge fan of cheesecake and stuff, right?
I've seen you eat cheesecake in the morning.
No, for real. I'm that type.
Really?
I was that type of dude, bro.
No, I'm talking about recently. Remember,
When?
we went to East Bay Coffee. You got
Yeah,
cheesecake
but that's
in
what
the
I'm
morning.
saying. It's one of those things. But when I was back in the day, bro, like I used to go to Nations, right? And I like get this like one of those strawberry cherry cheesecakes, right? Get the whole one, right? And them shits would be gone in like 2 days. So you can imagine within them 2 days, like within a day, how much of that shit I was eating, right? So if I go somewhere now, I can't even barely get through like a whole slice or 2 slices or something like that. It's just because not only am I in a different place on the physical thing and with my stomach and stuff, but I'm also in a different place mentally, to where, you know, I don't need that much. You know, a lot of the time, and especially with a lot of clients that I dealt with, a lot of the eating come from stress.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of that stuff comes from, you know, just mental stress and things going on at work or at home. And you know, food is a lot for us. It plays a lot of into, you know, comfort.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So you know, I think that's where a lot of people fall into it at, is they use that as their comfort. And then so when you're feeling overly stressed, you need a over saturation of comfort, so you're gonna be eating crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people all the time that instead of putting the value into that, you have to put that back into yourself.
Right.
You have to because nothing's going to solve your problems. A burger's not going to solve your problem. When all that food's gone, the problem's still going to be there. You dig what I'm saying? So you gotta get into, people gotta dive into what the issue is a lot of the time.
I say the same thing with like alcohol, because, you know, and sometimes the like when it feels best to go out and get a drink or whatever, you go to the bar, is when you're feeling down, you know, because they say like it makes the pain go away, but it actually makes it feel worse.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what's crazy though is that we've been taught this.
Yeah.
You know, from music to television and all that, we've always been taught, you know, especially when we're watching more adult themed shows or anything like that, like, okay, a drink is going to go to a bar. That's where you go to let off your stress or whatever. And in our community, us coming from Richmond, we can attest to it. I was just talking to somebody this morning about this. I was saying, you know, there's not a Whole Foods in the hood. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all the things that you could put in good in your body, they're not at an arm's reach in the off top. It's starting to change now with like farmers markets and things like that.
Like Urban Tilth, for example.
Yeah, most definitely. But then there's still, that disparity there. So I can still go to a liquor store on every corner, but I can't find a place where I can find really affordable good food for myself. Like grocery outlet, you can kind of freehand it a little bit and go, find some good stuff. But I'm talking about like when we talk about health, mental health, and all that stuff. And I'll what you put in a lot of the time plays into that. So I can go to Berkeley, right, and I can go get to a Whole Foods. I can get to all these different holistic places. But we know that that's just a population of people who have some money that can afford to stay there, right? So that's where the disparity come in at, though, because of the wealth income, like the disparity on that. You know what I mean? It sucks because we're already at a disadvantage. So when we're growing up, we're taught that these things are what we fall into, and it's hard for us to break out of that. So we got to have more people out there having these conversations.
It's a combination of, as you say, pockets with economics and filtering with your home life. When I was a kid growing up, I lived in Arkansas, right? And my grandmother had a vegetable garden in the backyard. Corn, peas, okra, carrots, beans, like fruit trees. And there was something about like eating what I helped grow that actually prepared me to be like I know people who hate vegetables because they didn't really grow up. Either they didn't eat vegetables like that growing up, or like it was something they were forced to eat. Yeah. And they say that if your kids are trying veggies for the first time, you gotta first of all, you don't start them off with fruit, right? I was reading you start them off with vegetables.
Start them off with fruit.
You start them off with vegetables first because you want them to treat the sugar as like a secondary. Once you get them to like veggies, and you have to expose them to the same vegetable 3 times before they decide whether or not. They may decide off the first taste they don't like it, but after that 3rd taste, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. The second thing, in regard to the whole alcohol situation, is like that there's also an element of parenting involved there. Like, it's fine to let your kids watch certain things that may be a bit above their head if you have a parent that's monitoring and explaining. Now, what this character is doing is what a lot of people do to deal with their pain, but it's not healthy. The point of this scene is to show you that this character is in a fucked up situation. That is, you know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody drinking alcohol to solve their problems in the movies to be shown to be normal. It's more like, oh, this dude has a problem and it's bad, right? But without context, we grow up thinking like that's how we do it. That's how we're all supposed to do it. It's like, no, this character it's drama. So it's supposed to be a little fucked up so that you feel bad for the character.
You know, another thing too that I was going to bring up is growing up, I mean, in my house, we had a chicken coop and we had a vegetable garden and, beans and rice was like a everyday thing. Yeah. Yeah. And when we went out and, for us going all out was getting McDonald's. Right. So as an adult, I saw cool, I'm making money now. I can eat McDonald's every day, and that became I don't have to wait around for paycheck day or whatever to eat, pizza or whatever. I can have that every day after work. And then for me, that's how my weight gain started. Right. Because all the foods that I was deprived from, I guess, or, didn't have as often. Once I was an adult and I had money, and that's going back. And then I got away from the food that I was eating growing up, because my parents grew up on a farm. So they pretty much raised us the way they ate back in Mexico. And, right. But yeah, as an adult, I remember the first time I made money as a kid, I used it to buy pizza. And it's like now as an adult, I can go out and buy the slice every day. We're working at Little Caesars, right. Eating pizza 6 days a week. Yeah. And that, I mean, how you program yourself to eat, that's a hard thing to unprogram, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Habits too. Like I can't just get on the treadmill and start running. It's hard, for me to, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to start talking about
you do soccer.
I do soccer. I wonder if there's an addiction aspect to me, which I heard that when you get addicted, like your brain changes, and then it's hard to go back.
Right.
Kind of like how you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think 5 years ago, I was okay with like not eating junk food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now I'm not, I don't feel like, I think it'd be hard to
stop eating junk food.
Yeah.
You know what that plays into though, and there was something. This is another thing I discuss with a lot of my clients and stuff. If you have been doing good and eating for a minority share of your life, then that's great, right? But you've been eating unhealthy for the majority share of your life. So it does play into the addiction aspect because sugar is more addictive than heroin.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Now, if you've been taking intaking sugar your whole life and you've been drinking sodas and doing all that type of stuff your whole life, it's really, really hard to break away from that on a permanent basis. Just like a heroin addict will find it hard to break away from sugar and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's an aspect into that because we've been raised, like I said, from where this is where it loops right back in and comes full circle, is we were raised to eat a certain way because of our incomes or, and where we're at. And so we had to make do with what we could afford. And a lot of that stuff is some hot Cheetos, some candies, some sodas, all that good stuff that, you know what I mean? We can just get off, just get for cheap and keep some money in our pockets. So we've been eating that forever. And then we come to like that stuff. You know what I mean? And so that's just what we do, and that just becomes our routine. Like I said, I've been doing this, health thing for about 5-6 years. And the biggest thing is I tell myself now, like, I'm just way better off than I was beforehand. Like in how I deal with things and how I feel and how I look and just in general, like my energy levels and just stuff like that are way more valuable. And I'm way higher up here than I was those 5 years, beforehand. And that was 26 years of my life.
And how old are you now?
About 32.
32.
Yeah.
You look younger than you did when I met you, dude.
Thank you, man.
I met him when he was, how old were you when we met? 10 years ago.
That was like, I was 20, 21, 22.
22.
So, yeah.
I mean, not older, but the weight definitely made you look, and you got a lot
I
of
did.
energy.
It put some years on me for real. Like, it really did.
How many hours a day do you do fitness?
Oh man, I'm all day, like all day. So 5 days out the week, I'm working out with people all day because I have different clients, different days.
It's more than working out though, man, because I'm speaking of my experience, like half hour of that goes to like, we're talking about we needed therapy.
Yeah.
That's basically what he does. He sits and talks to you and is like,
oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I don't know if that's just me because we're boys, but like, because it's really hard for me to lie about, like I lie to him. Like, how you been doing with the food? And it's like, oh, well, so my fingers are red from eating hot Cheetos, and I'm lying to his face.
Pretty good. I was eating carrots.
Good. I was eating beets with these 3 fingers.
Like, that is not how you eat a beet, man.
That's a hard one to do, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it worse. Like, I don't mind. Like you, we've gone out and we've ate junk food here and there. Like, I mean, for you, that's like a once in a while thing. For me, that's like, bringing Evan to my world. Let's go eat these burritos. Yeah. And like, that's the part that really messes with your brain when you're lying about what you ate and you shouldn't be eating certain things. You got high blood pressure. You got, all these things that you're close to getting diabetes. Yeah. And it's just, you can't, why can't you stop yourself from, from doing something that's going to kill you?
Yeah.
Because most of the time, like I was telling, because most of the time you've been used to eating and doing so many things in a certain way that it's an addiction.
Yeah.
Like straight up, it's an addiction. Yeah. And if things aren't, that's just like for a junkie, whoever's on whatever kind of drug, and no disrespect to nobody, but if your life is going good and you're feeling good and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, it's way easier to stay off that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, when life ain't going the way you want it to go, you ain't, you know, you don't got the people you want, you know, around you.
Yeah.
You know, the money ain't right. You might not get that girl you want. All these things pile on you and life ain't going the way you want to. You more liable to shoot something up.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
True,
Just put something up the arm. So put that into the terms of eating addiction and the things that we do then. If life is good, you're doing all right, you can stay away from that shit a little bit more. But you're more likely to go into that comfort food mode and eat your ass off if things aren't necessarily going your way.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That if life ain't necessarily panning out the way you want it to go, you know, it's way easier to sit back and be like, man, you know, and relax and chill and do all that than it is to actually have to figure things out and have that mental battle to get up and conquer some shit. You know what I mean?
It's got to be a big problem though, because like, most people are working at least 40 hours a week, if not more.
Yeah.
Most people are making a small
bastards.
amount of money.
Yeah.
If you live in the Bay Area, you're paying a lot in rent or mortgage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's got to be a serious problem for a lot more people.
Oh, it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's an epidemic.
And then not just with food, like I it's crazy because my whole life I thought growing up in Richmond, seeing crackheads and all that, people who are like tweakers, whatever, they're already living in the streets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who work regular jobs, like construction or whatever, and they're tweakers.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It makes you realize how bad it really is, and a lot of them working over 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's where, like, right now, I want to ask you is like eating healthy right now is getting trendy, and I know you kind of master this, like eating healthy on a budget.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that?
Man,
That's hard, man. It's hard to eat healthy like on a budget. I mean, I know you got yourself down to where you don't have to eat as much as
somebody else.
Somebody else.
Yeah, but you know what the crazy part was? It was like I ain't had no choice. I had to figure it out.
Right.
Either way it went, because at the time I had just started my business when I came back out here from Georgia, and I had to figure it out because I wasn't making too much money, right? Like I was just starting out, getting a couple clients here and there, and trying to make my money there. My thing is that when I really came out here, a lot of folks know too that when I was first starting the business, I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? I was living in my truck. You know what I mean? My first clients came when I was living in my truck. You know what I mean? Because once I originally came back to Richmond from Georgia, I had a production job. I was working at this place called Hartman Studios in Richmond.
Yeah.
And they're like a production company. So I had like a little management job, like a corporate job. I worked my way up from like greenhouse, which is like the lowest job you can get over there, to having my own department over there at this, in the corporate spot. So I left that shit because it wasn't popping, like, for me, because once I had already came out here, lost the weight, and did all that shit, it wasn't going to work because I was just already into what I wanted to be into, you know what I mean? So I was just basically making money just to make money.
Yeah.
I was just working to work. I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. So once I left there, that's when everything was like, oh, fuck, you got to kind of build up. Because I was staying with moms for a little bit at the time. We didn't really click like that. Yeah. So I just went ahead and stayed in my truck. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to the gym anyway. I'm going to 24 all the time. I'm about to just start picking these clients and getting this shit done. You know what I mean? So people started to come up to me when I was working out, and they'd be like, yo, how you doing this? You know what I'm saying? So I'll just be like, yo, meet me at this time, and this time, in the morning, and I'll show you. And people just started, throwing me little dollars here and there, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to just go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so from there, to answer your question, I didn't have that much money. Yeah. So I had to figure out.
You had to just make it happen
because I'm living in my truck, right? Yeah. So I'm having to go to the dollar store, get as much fruit as I can get, on the budget.
99 cents. And they got a lot of good stuff.
They saved my life. No, real talk. The 99 cent store down there saved my life, bro. Like that kept me from starving because I get my bags of grapes, my things of strawberries, blueberries, get like a oat cereal. Yeah, all kinds of greens, get my grains and all that shit, like my granolas and stuff, and have like enough to get like a couple jugs of water, and I'd be cool. I had a dog too, so I get her like some little pedigree and shit and all that. So like, I just didn't have no choice in the matter, so I had to figure it out. So by the time I did get on my feet, like, I had, I already had that knowledge there. So it was like, okay, I already know how to save this money. I already know how to do it. So then I could pass that on a little bit. you know.
So you, for storing your food, you were able to store your food at your aunt's?
So no, this is the crazy part about it being broken for. Right? Like I would go and be over,
and with a dog,
and with a dog, nonetheless, big ass pit bull.
I remember when I met Mo. Man, like, you hit me up. You were like, "Bro, I just need help feeding the dog."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You got a dog?"
Yeah.
Like, coming in a big old thing, and I was like, "She's so big." You were like, "She's only one." What the
She
fuck?
was only 1 year old, and she was massive, right? But what I used to do is I get a cooler and I just go to the gas station. I throw ice in it like every 2 days, and I just throw my shit in there and keep everything.
So it was like
cold.
camping.
Basically, I was basically camping for like 6 months.
I mean, that's the best way to look at it.
And being healthy about it.
Yeah, and being healthy about it.
She weighed the positive.
I remember, bro. Like I would go. This is the funny. It's not.
See, this is what we weren't talking at this time. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not funny, but it's funny when I look back at it.
Yeah.
Right, I used to. Okay, say I didn't have a lot of gas that day, right, and it was like summertime. So, like I said, mind you, it was 6 months, so I got to be in there like a little bit of spring, a little bit of summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I experienced all that. So I would be at the 24. I'd have to meet a client probably in El Sobrate or something, right? I would get out of my truck at the 24 and I would walk all the way to El Sobrate.
Fuck.
Wow.
Just to go make that money, so then I would have gas and groceries for the next day, and I could feed the dog and all that other shit. So it's, what I mean, I was kind of just in a place where I ain't had no choice but to learn how to adapt and how to survive in anything. So that's probably why I don't even eat as much as much people, because I just don't have the need for it, like, because I pretty much like adapted to that not having shit.
Yeah, because I've seen he's like when we came over, like, and then it's like a family party.
Yeah.
They serve him a bowl of pozole, like a few bites. No, this is good. I'm gonna have the rest to go. It's like this big old container.
Yeah, bro, because
how Mexican families serve these big old portions. Yeah.
And it's not to offend nobody,
no.
because a lot of the stuff that, man, JD family cook like a motherfucker, and it's hella good, right? But just for me,
that's why we are the way we are.
Yeah, but the shit is bomb, bro.
No, thank you.
But at the end, like, just for me, how I am, I just don't eat that much. Like, just because I when I was on the grind, I think probably I'm still on grind mode. You know what I mean?
I want to ask you something about that.
What's up?
Speaking of that, because we've talked about fasting before, and I've gone maybe 18 hours without eating. I had a massive headache, and I felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah.
How do you what's the most, in your opinion, that you can fast healthy? Because I've been thinking about doing it. It's a lot of benefits to it. I don't know much about it, but I know you mess around with that whole like fasting. Not was it when
intermittent fasting?
Not intermittent fasting, but just fasting. Because you said I remember one time
intermittent one, bro.
You do that one?
I'll do that one. But
I remember one time we were working out and you were doing the workouts with me, and you're like, "Oh, I just did a fast yesterday. I'm excited. I'm about to have a meal." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, that's intermittent fasting. So what it is that, like, you don't eat for at top a couple days.
Days.
And what you do, if you do eat something, then it's fruits or veggies, something that's easy to burn off and something that's, not going to stick to you. That's the main goal of intermittent fasting, is to get you to lessen that appetite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you do, like you said, if you
Those
do get
headaches.
there you go. So if you are feeling like, oh, I need something, you could put something in, but it's not just going to overfill. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? I discovered that, like, that whole, because one day I went without eating for about 18 hours.
Yeah,
it wasn't by choice. It was like, I'm gonna go on a fast today. No, I was stuck at work, and then something happened. I couldn't eat, and it's crazy because I know that feeling is, I would say, 90% mental.
Right.
Because as soon as I got in line to get a burrito, that fucking feeling went away.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm waiting in line, like, that's gone, and I don't feel that thing at all. So, I mean, but that's the hardest thing, is that the mindset that you got to change in order to, and when you were talking about you have to go walk over and then get paid by your client and come back.
Yeah.
like, I mean, maybe just my weak mind talking. Like, I don't see how it wasn't easy to just go back into doing, bad habits, man.
Because I had already been told, like, I had already got out of that mind frame.
So you were already fit at the beginning of those 6 months?
Yeah.
Do you? I was gonna ask him. Talk about what you did in Georgia. I don't know if you mentioned what you were doing over there.
Okay, so then we gotta go back then. So then,
Georgia,
yeah,
Georgia.
So Georgia is like Atlanta. That to me probably.
I didn't want to leave that out. That's why.
That's cool. That changed my life. Like Georgia probably saved my life. As a matter of fact, like Atlanta, when I was out here beforehand, I was in the grind. I was on that, on that that hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was, just working. Taking care of the fam at the time. My girl, her son, and all that good stuff. And that was where I was at, and that's what mattered, was just that, and that was it, because that's all I had to depend on. But at some point in that lifetime and in that cycle, bro, I forgot about how important I am and how important my life
when
is.
You're taking care of other people.
Yeah, when you're taking care of other people, you kind of put more value into them. So if they're not happy, then your happiness can't be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't put stock into everybody else. But that was my mistake in that, you know what I mean, is that, and when it didn't pan out, it was, you know what I mean? It was ugly and all that. But at the end of the day, I was really depressed, mentally weak too. Lost the job, didn't have no money coming in, a whole bunch of things. So I was damn near, to be honest with you, pretty much I had put myself and my friends in a terrible position. I hit rock bottom and, basically tried to hang myself off my ceiling.
Oh, shit.
With my belt. Yeah, with the belt. You feel me? My mom walked in my house by the grace of God and was looking for something and managed to lift me. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? Called my friends and then they, came through and everything. But then, my aunt called me. She was like, yeah, it's time for you to go. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to go. You done had enough. I done lost friends here. When I was a teenager, a lot of my friends died. You know what I mean? I done seen it all, man. I done seen, man.
That's crazy.
Drug addictions. I done seen one of my friends killed with my own eyes. A whole bunch of other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that whole mind frame of depression and sadness and all that type of stuff, just being where you from, I understand it. You know what I mean? Because I was here when the state of emergency was going on.
Yeah.
When a lot of people was getting gunned down and all that. It was ugly. Even before then, we'd have helicopters flying through every night. You'd hear them. You know what I'm saying? See all that. Because we from the same city, so we know this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
around what year is this?
Like then when I the state of emergency was like 05, 06. And, people were just getting gunned. It was people getting killed every night, every day. Like, broad daylight, it didn't matter. And it was so many people that I grew up with, so many people I went to school with, you know what I mean, that lost their lives in that. And, yeah, I understand the lifestyle, right? But then at the same time, at the core of it, we all human beings, right? And, if people was brought up in different circumstances, I feel like things could be different. A lot of us didn't ask to be born here, so I don't feel like the tag or the stigma needs to stick to everybody. I feel like you have the opportunity to be who you want to be. I don't feel like just because we from Richmond, we should have a stigma and they be like, oh, I understand the history, but we building something different. But to continue the story, I hit rock bottom, and my aunt said, you need to come out here. Doug Herman, who is my mentor, he owns a lot of Gold's gyms and stuff like that down south and stuff, right? So he didn't know me from from nothing. You know what I'm saying? So my cousin was dating his daughter. I guess I was lucky. He sent, because my cousin, I guess, told him what was going on with me. And that's like my little brother. I'm probably like 6 years older than him. He told him what was going on with me. And Doug sent me a plane ticket, flew me out. And like, he didn't know me for shit. You know what I'm saying? So he flew me out. I got to stay over there at my aunt's house. She's the head secretary for Turner Broadcasting. So TNT, TBS, all that stuff. She on top of that. So I'm staying with her, getting my shit together. I need to get like some kind of job to make some money. Doug gave me a job at a Gold's Gym. So, and then, you know, they already knew what my situation was. Doug paid for me for psychiatry, like for me to go see somebody. You know what I'm saying? Never asked me for a dime. So, and I was there the entire time that I was in Atlanta. I was seeing that person.
Damn.
So once I was leaving, probably a week or two before I was coming back here, I had did my last session with, you know, my psychiatrist and everything. And he was saying like, yo, before, when I first met you and when we first started these conversations and stuff, I would have prescribed you like hella medications.
Yeah.
And hella stuff like that. But after getting to know you and hearing your story and seeing how you've been able to kind of pick yourself up just by discussing something to somebody who has no bias or can't tell you you're a bad person, like after those few months, I can already see that you're a good person and there's nothing wrong with you. You just had a lot on your mind and a lot on your heart. You know what I'm saying? And so that whole experience there, and guess what it cost me? Like, and I even went to Doug even sent me to Superior Health Clinics, and I got an education there. I was trained personally by the strength and conditioning coach at Alabama University, Shelby Robbins, who taught me a whole bunch about just personal training and everything in general. I got to train with college football players and everything. And you know what they asked me for? Nothing. I have no debt. I have no nothing. Like, they did that for me and made me better just because.
That's what you call love for your fellow man. Is he a Christian? Is Doug a Christian?
He's a Jew, actually. He's Jewish.
hey, that's close enough, though. That's the root for the. You know, I'm pretty sure somewhere in the Old Testament, the Torah talk about love for your fellow person. That's real.
Nah, you know what?
Love for your fellow man.
That's beautiful, man.
No, and
Thank you for sharing that.
No, real talk though. And the crazy thing about it is that he took me under his wing, like for real. Like, he used to take me to this bomb ass hibachi place, like Japanese food, like on you know what hibachi is.
Yeah.
Dude, and it's exactly. And so, like, it's super expensive.
Yeah,
we used to go there every week, and he just used to tell me, like, man, tell me about your week, whoop, whoop. And this is my boss.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So he went from putting me into the Gold's Gym to he moved me into to one of his health clinics. So I was learning about medical weight loss and all this other stuff while I was learning about personal training. So I got the best of both worlds in about 6 months. So I got a year's worth of training in 6 months.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
You know, and then that's why. Because you do a lot of free stuff for the community.
That's why I do it, though, because that's exactly why I do it, is because it was implanted and ingrained in me from when I started. It was like he used to tell me that it's not about the money. He's a millionaire. I've been to his house. This dude's got like floors on top of floors on top of floors. You know what I mean? Rooms on top of rooms on top of rooms. In Atlanta, like real estate is cheaper, so you can imagine what kind of fucking house you can get
over there.
$1 million over there can get.
Yeah.
I'm talking, this dude had like everything, and he used to always tell me
Illuminati houses.
No, real shit though. But then the whole thing he used to always tell me was, and this sticks to me to this day, and why I act how I act and how I do things for for what I do them for, and why I do a lot of free stuff, is because he told me, like, he was before, he's been broke as fuck, and he was broke as fuck like a decade before, to where he was in his apartment just reading the New York Times, reading stocks and shit, and he took a chance on himself to get out there and do this shit, and he just said, there's no difference between me and you besides the opportunities that I took. He said he didn't receive anything. His dad was a lawyer, and he didn't even take his money to start a company. Wow. So he just gave me a whole bunch of game about how to really do this shit and how to navigate business and to still be human doing it. You know what I mean? I don't got to stab everybody in the back and do all these other things to do business with people. Like, I can still have my dignity and all that stuff, you know what I mean, and do biz.
It bothers me when people say, like, that you have to be that way when you're making a lot of money, or in order to be successful, that you have to step on other people.
You got to be a shark, and you got to be this, and
it's my understanding that, like, Ivy League schools used to have, like, mandatory ethics philosophy classes for their business majors, and they stopped at some point, and there was some discussion of maybe we should start teaching that again, because we've released some psychopaths onto the world, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of sad that so many people just kind of will do anything to get ahead. And there's a lot to be said about strategy. There's a lot to be said about absorbing smaller companies and taking for yourself. But there's also a lot to be said about having the right amount of humanitarianism and respect for others and still being able to carve your own lane. It's a balance.
Yeah, it most definitely is.
For like the fitness part aspect that we're talking about, what you do, I think, is probably the better approach for someone like me.
Right.
You know, like a constant daily log of what you're doing, because you know, it's like I said, man, it's easy. You know me, dude. It's easy for me. I can control myself to a certain extent, but you know, after a bad day, like, you know,
I think it's easier for me with clients and stuff.
Yeah.
And the way I deal with it and what my approach is because I was there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that far, you know, I'm not that far gone from it. Like I can still remember when I was still doing all this stuff. So, and where my mind frame was when I was doing it. So I can, and also the difference is that I'm honest about it. Cause a lot of people, once they get to this, level of just doing stuff and being like, hey, I'm fit, I'm all this, they act like they wasn't that before. You know what I mean? Like they've always been fit. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to everybody and blow smoke and be like, hey, I've been like this forever. I haven't, you know, but I know the differences and what I feel like now in my 30s versus what I feel better in my 30s than I ever felt in my 20s.
One year away.
Not straight up, but that's the thing, and that's another thing about the lies we get told, especially us in our level of society where you know we from the hood and all that stuff. They tell you got to do this, that, and the other by a certain age, or you're done for.
Your
20s,
your prime.
That's it. That's a lie and a half, bro. Most when everything I've read, bro, like your 30s, bro, your mid 30s are your prime.
Yep. Yeah. Because you don't know shit when you're 20. You don't know nothing
when you're in your 20s. You're still young and stupid. You know what I'm saying? And you not even you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like you are in a way.
Yeah, but you learn and you get experience and you get sharper and you know how to deal with things, right? And so imagine having that kind of knowledge that you have now, right, versus what you had then, and being in better shape. Yeah, in your 30s. With that knowledge that you got, your
emotional intelligence is way better. Also.
Yeah, and all that together, that makes a more confident, dynamic person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I be telling people it's not about getting there at a certain age. It's about embracing every day and like maximizing your potential for every day. So then you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to get here by the time I'm 35 or by the time I'm 40. Nah, man, you already in motion. You know, it's just about getting in motion.
I want. Oh, go ahead.
There used to be this commercial. What's that workout setup that used to come on TV? It was like,
Bowflex?
Bowflex, yeah. There's this guy at the end of the commercial. He's like, I'm 40 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life. Yeah. That stuck with me. I'm like, okay, when I'm 40 years old, I have to be in the best shape of my life.
20 years later. No. There's this, it's funny because we were talking about this. I forgot what comedian said this, but it was a joke. He was like, when I was 18, I thought I knew it all. Then I turned 25. Like, all right, I was really stupid when I was 18. Now I know it all. Then I turned 35. I was like, all right, I see how much of a jackass I was in my 20s. Yeah. And then he's like, in his 40s, you really realize, like, wow, I really don't know much, but I was really stupid back then. Right. But once you get really old, like in your 90s, then you really know everything and you're smart. But then you try to tell people, but no one listens to you because you pee on yourself.
That's funny.
They say the truest intelligence is understanding that you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And it hits at different ages, man. Some people are ahead of their time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like in certain ways.
And then the ones that are ahead of their time in our age, like, when growing up with them, you see them as weirdos or fucking. So it's hard to listen to someone that's preaching this when you're in your,
I think that's why it's necessary for people to kind of get into this earlier in life. You know what I mean? Because right now, I think where I'm kind of finding success at and where I'm able to kind of hit at and connect with is I'm able to connect in certain demographics that others aren't. Like, Tybo dude ain't gonna grab the hood.
No,
you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm not too far removed from this generation to where I can be out here like, yo, you know what I mean? This is what needs to be done and this is what we need to do. And, I'm not too far removed to where I still speak the language of right this second.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you can still touch a younger generation, the ones that are eating hot Cheetos with cheese.
But you know what the crazy part is, though? I was like, I sometimes I just go to Richmond just to go to Richmond. I don't even tell nobody I'm there.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about that, man.
What's up?
Last Sunday?
Yeah.
We were talking about all the free work and all the work you do with the community. Last Sunday, you were just awarded what?
Okay, so I got honors from the city of Richmond. I got honors from Contra Costa County. I got honors from U.S. Congress, and I just picked up something from State Assembly on this past Friday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But if this is the one thing, though, I always tell people all the time. Had these two guys that sit next to me not stuck with me through everything that was going on, none of that would have happened. It wouldn't be no go to work. It wouldn't be none of that going on. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I got to credit these guys just as much as I got to credit myself.
Yeah.
Because they stuck with me through, you know, whatever was going on. You know what I mean? We stuck together as a team. So I got to always, you know, give respect and honor to those guys. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my team.
I want to take it. I want to take it a step further. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have met these two guys who are now helping me do this.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for you also back then, I wouldn't have started doing comedy again because I stopped for about 3 years.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because I also was going through some shit myself. You know, I put on like 100 pounds more than I was, and I was just not feeling funny. And then watching you do your show, you were doing what you love with your clients, and you were making it happen. And I don't know, that being around you made me feel like, dude, you know what? Let me do this. Let me try this again. Yeah. You know?
It was never too late. You was already talented, bro. That's what. I
got emotional right now. Jesus Christ.
I appreciate it, though. It's one of them days, man. It's one of them days. But that's the one thing that, you know, a lot of people don't really realize is like, when you're gifted with something, it's your choice on what you do with it. Because there's less talented people than you that be getting on. Right?
That's true.
But it's because they hustled and they never stopped, right?
Rap is a great example.
And rap is a great example, too. It's artists that I'd be thinking sometimes like, how you get on, bro? But then at the same
comedy
time... straight up. I'd be like, how you get on, though? But then but I can't knock their hustle because you know that they worked their ass off to get to whatever they was doing.
And it's scary to go do it.
Most definitely.
Get on stage and do it. It's scary.
Oh, bro, I know some people who are mega talented, singers, whatever. I know people who are mega, mega talented, ultra talented, but they don't even want to get on stage because they don't think they're good enough to get on stage. And that's a mental thing.
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying?
It's all in your head.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like being able. Okay, so we can bring it back. Like when I first came back here from Georgia, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even have fitness on my mind.
Yeah.
All the way off top. Like I was just looking to get a job and you know what I mean, do whatever. And I was still working out and doing all that stuff, but I was more so looking to get whatever I can get to get a check, right? So me doing what I love to do didn't come till later when I decided, it's now or never. Right. You know what I mean? But you have to take the leap of faith sometimes to be able to get things done. Like, had I not done that, I hit Phil up like one night when I was in my truck, and I was like, yo, man, I need a logo because I got this, I got this thing I want to do. But like as far as fitness, I'm gonna be a personal trainer. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do this." So he gave me like it was called 9K Fitness, right? Because the 9K, because I was a Dragon Ball Z fan, and it was over 9,000. You feel me? So it was like
I love that concept too.
It was over 9,000, right? So then he had. So
Phil.
Yeah, Phil. No, for real. So he had
such
sent
a lovable guy, though.
Bro, he sent me like designs of like the 9K in Dragon Ball colors with like a dude doing the Kamehameha, like and all this shit, bro. It was sick, right?
Oh, shit.
No, it was sick though. So, but then I was like, nah, because what I was doing was every client that I would do something with, we'd be in the 24. So I was a little established at this time. So I had been in the gym doing stuff with people for about a month or two. And I told everything that they would do, that'd be a rep or any great thing that they would do with they sets or anything like that. Afterwards, I'd be like, go to work. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to work. You know what I mean? And all that. And it would just be something I said, like at the end of the area. And then sooner or later, my clients started saying it too, like, go to work. So it just stuck. And I was like, you know what? That's it.
Go to work.
You know, so I was like, go to work fitness. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just saying it. And then people, it would stick with other people too. And, you know, and then they'd be corny with it too. They'd be like, they get out, you know, hit the showers, do all that. Then they leave, I got to go to work and all that. Like, it's a catchphrase and all that. And so it just stuck. And then that's when I told him I wanted something, the logo had to be like superhero-ish. Yeah. Like something that like Batman would wear or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Chest. On his chest. Exactly. And he came up with that. So had all that not happened, had all these stars not aligned, I wouldn't even got them awards and all these things, all these honors and stuff that we got now, because they don't won film awards and, you know, done all this stuff. We done been able to produce shows and host events and do all this other stuff. But it's all because of how it started and how we stuck together. You know what I mean? So that's why
you guys met back in high school, middle school.
Yes,
high school.
Yes.
High
like
school.
I always looked at it like when they brought me on board, Phil and I were already doing Frosted Mini Fears. Yeah. And like I had been in movements before, I had led movements before, and my mentality is pretty much like, yo, the training, like I'm not gonna even pretend to know how to train. I could probably train somebody else, but I'm not even going to pretend that I am a personal trainer. Like, but as far as like the personal training is all Evan, you know what I mean? But the show is us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That broadcasting, that filming, that editing, that even, you know, like, maybe 2 or 3 percent of the guests and concepts for the show is like us just being a team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm proud of that.
I love the show, man. And also tell the people listening where they can find it.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't plug the YouTube enough. Like the Instagram is popping, the Facebook is popping. Please subscribe.
Go to Work Fitness and go to workfitness.com too. Go on there, check out the gear, all that stuff.
Got a new episode out.
Got a new episode. We just covered the 2019 We Were in Richmond 5K. Yeah. Well, moving forward for our future, which was crazy. I got to host that. That was my second time hosting that event.
Man. You're gonna be keep hosting the show from now on?
So what they wanted, I was just at the Soulful Softball Sunday. And they were there. They were basically talking about, you gotta do that for as ever long as you want to do. Like they want me to do it for as ever long as I want to. Yeah. I'm talking, I'll do it every year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just one of those things to where it's like, I see the vision. Like I see where we can go, and I see what the accomplishments we can have. Like that event is going to get bigger, like year by year. I already see it. Like, and I already know what effect it's going to have. It's going to have people getting ready, training, and eating better, and doing things like that in preparation for this. And in that way, that's great. And then we can start to instill that in them for year round. To where they eating healthier and doing stuff like that. And this could be just one of those events, you know what I mean? So I really feel strongly about that. I love the event. I love the folks who organize it anyway. I think that, Anselmo, he has his heart in the right place. Yeah. You know what I mean? As far as what he want to do for the youth in Richmond. Yeah. Same thing with Victor, and that whole organization. I see what they want to do. I wish that the city, you know what I mean, and the officials will have more involvement in it, because
they don't.
No, a lot of the stuff that's what I don't like about what's going on right now is that the city is. We got Demolish Johnson and guys like that's coming up, you know what I mean, and young guys like that's coming up. But it's
Shout
still
out to Melvin,
and Melvin Willis and guys like
Diego.
that, and straight up, we got some good young blood in there, but it's still so archaic. It's still so outdated. Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? They don't a lot of those people who are in the higher echelons, they don't know what the people need right now.
Right, yeah.
I'm not even trying to be vicious and mean and nothing like that, but I'm waiting for a lot of these guys to die out so the new blood can come in. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to change until then, bro. Like people,
and not just in politics.
In general. Like the way things is, bro, is we're the young people, us right here, this generation right here, we're the ones that's going to inherit this. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we should want the best type of situation, because guess what? What we get is what we get to work with for the generation that's coming after us, our kids and their kids and all that. So if we're inheriting a shitty situation in general, in Richmond and beyond, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a good look. That's why so many people trying to leave. And it's crazy because they talking about leaving. You can't afford to leave. Where you going to go?
Yeah.
you know
Stockton.
And all they going to do is win. But see, this is the same thing that Sac do, every other city do, Antioch and all these other places. They lower their prices so they can get other people out of certain areas and make it cheaper, you know what I mean? Make it easier. And then guess what? When they get overrun over there and the stuff gets overrun over there, they're going to jack the prices up.
Like Antioch?
Like Antioch. And they're going to get you out of there.
Because remember in Antioch in like 2008, everybody moved over there. Yeah. And then the fucking prices
guess what?
went up.
Now you can't stay.
Everybody lost their house.
Yeah, now you can't afford to stay over there no more. What I'm telling people is like stuff like these events and all these things, I feel like it instills a certain amount of knowledge and pride in this city where we need to talk about how we can own property here. How we can start to build up and really get this going to where we own our property. We don't need to be rent. Like, the thing about it is we so used to renting and doing all that. They never taught us how to buy, and they never taught us any of that stuff, right? So it's easy to run us out. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? It's easy to run us out. Yeah. So you know,
in 5 years, we need to run for spots on city council.
I agree, and that's something I might look into. That's something
that's what I was thinking.
Or the mayoral, like you as mayor and me as vice mayor. 2024 or whatever.
I just feel like change is needed.
Both the go to work ticket, man.
No, I just feel like it's needed, bro, because people. Because
you're very involved in that. I mean, I don't know much about,
I just started getting involved.
Like, you started getting involved recently.
My main thing is that
you interviewed Melvin recently too, right?
Yeah, you know what? People like that kind of made me interested.
Yeah,
more so
because he's young. I remember seeing him in high school.
Yeah, and I used to always think that it would just be the older guys who would get the opportunity.
Right.
And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't, no disrespect with whatever. Like, but no disrespect, but I don't want to be that Al Sharpton or that Jesse Jackson who's so old that they out of touch.
Right.
That all they can do is go ambulance chase something, and that's the only way that you could talk to this younger generation and get the younger generation behind you. Nah, I want to be out there with them so they already know, hey, he got our interests at heart, and he, you know what I mean, and he know what he talking about. So that's the difference. I know that's what we need, because half these guys don't even know the issues.
Yeah.
Half these, and you know why they don't know the issues? Because they're not in our tax bracket, and they never were.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
I mean, because you only see them at like those crisis.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And they are well-intentioned individuals. Like shout out to Jesse Jackson, who I met like earlier this year. Like, you know, I believe that everybody has their time of public service, and there's a certain point where you, even with your best intentions and all the editorials you write or whatever, like, you know, you can only see, because let's not forget, these guys came from the bottom too.
I get that.
You know what I mean? But once you get to a certain degree of success and money, and you have so many books written, you tend to lose, even the best of people lose touch. Like even somebody
that's true,
like Jimmy Carter, who, and I love Jimmy Carter as a former president, because the man builds houses, Habitat for Humanity. Shout out to that guy. He's still like kind of several clicks above the common man. Still doing better than George Bush, who's just painting paintings in his off hours. He's like, whatever, I'm painting beautiful pictures.
You know the thing.
It's too bad he can't read though. It's
like
a shame.
Political figures though, like, you know, we talk about them a lot, and, you know, and I mean, that's how I think of those guys, political figures. In a way, dude, they're still celebrities, and like a celebrity gets all this extra special treatment, except they can make certain changes that affect everyone. And was, you know, I don't know. I think we gotta. That's how I see political figures. I see them as celebrities, man. Yeah. And you know how celebrities get all this extra special treatment, and that's why you see them. You know, like all the stories you hear about, you know, like for example, Al Sharpton or all these other people, like about them asking for money at certain events. You know, if you just see them as celebrities, it kind of doesn't make it seem as, like, I don't know, it's expected. I don't know. But that's why you got to be connected to the people, like you're saying.
That's what I was about to say. It's about your intentions in the whole thing. Because a lot of these guys, I can respect a lot of the stuff that Jesse did. I most definitely. But then at the same time, a lot of these guys, you know, a lot of them, they hang on longer than they need to. Half these guys need to pass the torch and move forward, and support the youth, and don't try to assimilate them. Try to like literally back what's going on right this second.
Yeah, stop Hulk Hoganing this shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because what a lot of the time, a lot of the time, what they try to do is they try to ride the wave and then keep themselves relevant at the same time, which dilutes your message anyway. Because now you're part of the circus. Like if you put Al Sharpton out there to speak, half the time, even black people roll their eyes.
Yeah.
Because we be like, oh, just, you know what I'm saying? Oh, fucking Al Sharpton. Because he done been in every single tragedy that's ever happened to black people. Here he come. But I don't see him doing that. But that's what I'm saying. I see him doing certain other things. But his story's going around. But at the end of the day, what I want to say is that we can't even put our stock into people like that. We have to like hold these local people, these local leaders and stuff like that accountable, because that's what affects us in the community off top. This federal stuff and all that stuff, that happens overall to the U.S. I'm talking about, your district.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what district you live in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do you know the certain things that go on there and what you can and can't do? Or what about half the time the city streets in Richmond are shitty as hell, and your tires go out and you paying extra shit. You know what I'm saying? We need road repairs. We need things like that to make our city better.
The taxes still go up.
And the taxes still, but you're paying. But you're paying like all this stuff is good.
Yep.
And they haven't.
That's not cool.
You get what I'm saying? So it's just about knowing where you're at and knowing what's going on and holding the people that's locally here responsible, because those are the people that's getting over on us.
Every once in a while, I'll look at the Everybody's Richmond page.
Yeah.
And it's like a big mess of things that people are arguing about.
Yeah.
I feel like, like you said, you should be more involved, because I see what, supposedly they talk about what they're spending certain money on, and it's like, all right, this isn't helping the community. This is.
I wonder how much of it is just like squandering and mismanagement.
Oh man,
well, that's why I was saying it's archaic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You have a lot of people.
It's hella old.
Like if you live in Richmond, you can commute to work in San Francisco or whatever. Like because you drive around Antioch, like the streets are a lot nicer in Antioch, and it's not a nice city or anything. But I remember I brought a few comedians here, not comedians, actors one time to do a show here, and they were like shocked at the poor quality of.
Well, you brought them where, to Richmond?
To CCC.
Oh
okay,
yeah.
And
they
were shocked at how the city looks. However, there's like grass growing on the sidewalk.
Like it's actually nice here.
There's no way that Antioch has more revenue than Richmond. Like you can't. Richmond's at the center of
it's where it's going to, though. You know what I'm saying? And how, like you said, how it's managed. A lot of the stuff that they doing, a lot of them programs ain't even beneficial no more. And I remember they were cutting school programs, like, little after school programs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, for what? So do you want these little dudes out here causing chaos and doing all that other stuff? Like, is it really about the dollar? Because where's my money really going? Because we need those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's crazy.
You work.
I was on the brunt end of this back in 2013. Like I was working. My first long-time job was with the YMCA after school program. Shout out to Bianca Lachaud, who does a lot of good health work in the community. My former supervisor. Basically, like, our program was operating under the 20th Century Grant, which was a bunch of federal funds thrown at after school programs to, help these kids out. Tutoring, sports, other recreational things, you name it, clubs, whatever. There is like money for that. And so every 5 years you got to reapply for your grant to re-up.
Right.
Well, for some reason, the feds decided that it wasn't worthwhile to continue high school after school programs in our area. As a matter of fact, to my understanding, in the Bay Area at large, the only high school to get re-up for their grant was, oddly enough, Antioch. But everybody else, like if you weren't in elementary school, you were cooked. So I was out of a job, and the kids, more importantly, were out of services that they desperately needed. So like, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know who makes these like ultimate decisions. I don't know if it's some bureaucrat in their office just reviewing it, or if it's like some federal, if it's like if it's a senator or if it's a committee. But at that point we should have been able to turn to some sort of local community Richmond based resource. Okay, the feds turned their back on us. What do we have here? And my boss, Miss Bianca, she reached out to the school district. They were like, well, we might have a little bit of money stashed on the side. I'm not going to say where that came from because I work for the district now. Right. Everything we do in the WCCUSD is completely above board. That is my official statement. Anyway, but like we were looking for possibly a GoFundMe, like what private organizations could fund this, and nobody was interested, which meant they could have fallen on the community to like raise this money up. And it's like, that's a perfect example of a local problem that was fed by the feds, that when the feds couldn't do it, let's build local contingencies. Let's build local solutions.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Speaking of school, like we were just talking about, if you grew up eating bad foods at the house and then the things you didn't learn in school health-wise, have you looked into like doing like after-school programs to talk about healthy living in this, like... So I know you do work with. I'm sorry. I know you do work. Recently, you did something with some young people, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I was. I've been able to do some things with some nonprofits and stuff lately. Project Zini is a company that a friend of mine, Michael Fu, in San Francisco, he has started. He's kind of on the entrepreneurial path. He left the job that he had, which was a great job at the San Francisco Success Centers. And he wanted to do something that would give, youth 18 to like 24 the opportunity to work with high-end professionals in different genres of things. So he's hooked, some youngsters up with high-end chefs, and they gave them demos on cooking. And, sometimes you go with another athlete and do whatever they do, or, just different places and learning different things. And so I was able to take them to Golden Gate Park and, teach them about, tell them a lot of things that I was able to say today, but not as in depth. Right. Just, giving them an overview of like, hey, I came from this. I was heavier. I was this. I got myself into fitness and changed my life, started my own business. And if I can do it, and I'm from, I'm a young dude from Richmond. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm no better. And that's why I say it's better for me, like, to be able to do stuff like that, because I'm not too far removed from them. So it's not like I'm just some old dude saying this, and it's like, yeah, but you had so much time to do what you wanted to do, right? Yeah. Like, nah, I'm not that much older than y'all. I'm just telling you, like, I've been there. Right. I've done that. So it's just like, it hits better. And so through those kind of things that I'm doing with Project Zini, which that was like a pilot for them, and they're going to do more. So I'll be doing more stuff with them. Through them, I'll be doing some stuff with the California Conservation Corps.
Nice.
With coming up. So we're still kind of, negotiating on that. But, and being able to do these events and stuff like that, I do want to be able to kind of do something for the youth, maybe after school or something like that, and develop something, because I do feel like it's needed.
Yeah.
Especially in the areas that we in, right? Yeah. Because I could go probably, I used to live in different areas, Berkeley, San Leandro and stuff, just when I was a kid, right? And you have exposure to all these different knowledges. And, my godmom, who's Caucasian, who's white, you know what I'm saying? She raised me for some years too. And when I was with her, fruits, veggies, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? When I'm in Richmond, chicken, fries and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Cheez-Its and hot Cheetos and all that good shit. So, you know what I mean? I didn't understand it until later. Right. But it's like your exposure to different things, has to do with how you, sometimes it has to do with where you brought up and how you was brought up. Yeah. And so I think that being able to talk to the youth and showing them a different way and a different outcome, I think that's a powerful thing. And I think I like being fun and humorous enough to where I can pull it off. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of fun, I wanted to bring this up.
What's up?
Now, on top of all this stuff you're doing, getting all these awards, and you're doing you're working with your clients, And now you got into professional wrestling. Like, oh, fuck, do you make time for all this, man?
I got my BTW hoodie on right now.
Nice.
Like, it's got the big ass ring on the back.
Talk about that, because I know it's not common for someone to get into like something like that at a later age, or is it? I don't know, because every time I hear about it, like somebody they started when they were like what?
Super young.
Yeah, like boxing. I know they start after like 10, 11. But I know you guys used to do some like backyard wrestling back in the days.
So my thing with wrestling, I got a connection with wrestling that's like lifelong.
Yeah,
I told people I didn't know who my father, like I know who my father was. I see him a couple times, but I don't know him like that. But and I don't have a lot of memories with him. But one of the first memories I had was him sitting me in front of a TV, and I was watching Saturday Night's Main Event. And I told this to Bret Hart the other day when I met him.
Oh shoot!
I was telling him he was the first person I watched wrestle, because I watched the Rockers versus the Hart Foundation.
Nice, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was one of the first things I remember watching. So I told that to Brett the other day, and he was like, "Wow, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy." But
that's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that I even got to meet him. It's crazy. People talk crazy about him and all that, but he's a cool ass dude.
Yeah,
like he's a cool ass dude.
Oh yeah,
like, for real. That's a cool dude. Like, people can say whatever they want to say about him, but when I meet you, and you can give me like some cool energy, bro, like I already know that's who he is, and that's how he is.
I figured that's the case with a lot of them, because you're having a bad day and 100 people are trying to come up to you and talk to you. Yeah, dude.
Like I heard this story, like you know how YouTubers talk. His YouTube cat was talking about his favorite wrestlers were Bret Hart and like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
But like he used to watch most of their tapes, like he had VHS tapes like rented from Blockbuster. He didn't watch it on a regular. So he met Bret Hart, and he explained to Bret Hart when he was little, I think he might have been in first grade or something like that, second grade.
Right.
And he was like, yo, I'm so happy that I met you. You're on my list of top wrestlers I want to meet. Next, I want to meet Shawn Michaels. And this was like after the screw job. So then like Bret Hart, he was like, well, when you do meet him, give him this. And then he flipped the little kid the bird. But he was going through a dark place, it was still fresh.
Yeah.
It was still fresh. But I'm just like, man, that kid was like, I was mortified. Like, he was my hero. He flipped me off.
Man,
you know what I mean?
that was awesome.
That's awesome.
I thought that was awesome. Like,
soft
man,
ass kid.
That was soft, man. I'd have been like, hey, Sean, this is what Brett told me to give you.
Hell yeah.
I'd have made sure I seen
dude.
Sean then. This is what Brett told me to give you, man. Yeah. Like, nah, you know what's crazy, though? Like,
why you flip me off?
No, it's just wild that even in the beginning of my life, bro, wrestling was a big part of what I was doing, right? And I was a fan from elementary school when the Attitude Era was popping off, and they had like Steve Austin and The Rock and
the
Undertaker,
Brood.
Kane and all that. When Kane was raw as hell when he first came out with the mask, and he was
broke
just
that door.
Yeah, and he ripped off the door and beat up the Undertaker. When he set the casket up, man, Kane was
those
raw.
are the best times for
wrestling. To me, those are the best wrestling times. I think right now, there are better athletes in wrestling, like right in this era right now, for sure. Like the things they can do are far superior. But as far as storytelling, as far as personalities, and as far as just the overall movement and how everything kind of flows, there wasn't nothing like the Attitude Era, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was probably the best era ever, like, for that.
The story-wise,
even the guys who didn't mean much, like, that were on the lower card, they were doing something.
Like, the guys that were mid-cards back then, were great. Like, I remember the Brood. The Brood wasn't even the main card guys, right?
No, but they were awesome.
Those were some of my favorites,
but they were awesome.
Now for me, this emphasis on, like, more technical wrestlers, more grappler guys, more like cruiserweighty, like throw your body around the room, like that's up my alley, because during the Attitude Era, like a large portion of my fandom came from WCW, and like I was idolizing guys like Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero, and these workhorses, and even to a certain extent, Ric Flair was always my favorite of like the Ric Flair Hogan thing, because
really
Rick's thing was like the figure four. You know what I mean? Like it was make you tap. Rick could still, even though he was older, could still do that thing where you kick him out of the ring and then he would flip and land on the apron and strut.
Land right on his feet.
Woo! You know what I'm saying? Like that was the type of stuff I liked. So I remember when I moved out here, like, cause I grew up in Arkansas. I moved out here. I didn't have cable. And one of the first things I asked my mom was like, well, what channels do you have? And then she was like, oh, we have about 11 or 12. I was like, is there wrestling? Cause I'm just, yeah, there's wrestling. And I was like, oh, there's hope. And I was like, so I was like, okay, so
we're going to get along.
Monday or Thursday? What? She's like, Thursday. Cause SmackDown was run on UPN.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so who comes out? And she's like, well, there's an older guy. Oh, older guy. Okay. And what's the older guy like? And then she described the older guy to me. It was like, Vince McMahon. Oh, that show.
Yeah.
So then like I learned to love the WWE. I learned a whole different side of the game. It was like The Rock is hilarious and but
that was,
still.
yeah, dude, I remember, like 40% of the show was all mic.
Yeah.
Like someone on the mic.
Yeah. It was a lot of story.
That's, like I can do the connection of that to boxing, because I remember back in those days, boxing was all dudes throwing haymakers, like, and now it's really technical.
But
people watching their heads and shit. Cause back then in wrestling, the chairs, do they still do chairs now? I haven't really.
They did something at the last thing for AEW, which is like the new, basically like, All Elite Wrestling is like the new WCW in a way, just because it has that competition aspect with WWE. So they had a thing where Cody Rhodes, who is Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream son, he had taken a chair shot straight to the head, right? And like got his whole shit busted open, like the whole back of his head was like gushing. And so that was the first time we seen a chair shot to the head in hella long.
Really?
Yeah, so it was interesting. Like for me, wrestling is like it's in the midst of like another hot season. Like it has the opportunity to be just as big as it was.
Now that WWE has competition.
Yeah, because then you have more opportunities to catch something on a network TV level. My aunt, like I said, is the head secretary for Turner Broadcasting, right? TNT, TBS, and all this.
Yeah.
And she hit me up, and she never really cared for wrestling. She knew I was a huge fan, so she'd hook me up with stuff and everything. But she's over here talking to me about All Elite and all these other things. So it's gotten people to a point to where it's like, okay, they're interested in this stuff now because it's coming back. And I think it was just better when there was competition. Like WWE, I think the problem with them right this second is that if you've had no competition for like 10, 15 years, you can afford to just cruise and just go on cruise control because there's no competition.
You can have someone like Roman Reigns.
Just you could just shove people because you know what though? That just goes back to like the problem with society a lot of the time is because you got these big corporations that have been spoon feeding you something for so long that when you saying, hey, I want something different, they be like, nah, keep this. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep feeding you this.
Mediocrity.
Yeah, and then sooner or later, people just going to be like, I'm tired of it. If Vince McMahon and them listen, and the WWE listen to their fans, and they really treated their wrestlers like all the way raw, like they're supposed to be, there would be no All Elite Wrestling.
Right.
There wouldn't even be an All Elite Wrestling right now because All Elite Wrestling started with Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes, a couple years ago, was signed to WWE.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to do a certain gimmick that, what was it, Stardust, I think?
That's Goldust's brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he didn't want to do that gimmick no more. He just wanted to be Cody. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't want him to do that. So he left. And then so after a couple years, now he's the executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling with Tony Khan and them. And had they just done the right things,
this is karma.
How new is AEW?
Like, it just started
because they had a big event this weekend. No,
yeah, that was All Out, right? So they're about like a year, not even a year. This is a months-old company. They had All In, which was like their first event.
Yeah,
probably like last year.
Okay,
and like. They didn't really talk about having the whole federation until probably a few months ago. So this thing is like probably 6 months old, and it's already selling out arenas.
Heat.
Really?
Like WWE, to my knowledge, has to tarp off some of the arena spots sometimes because people won't, fill up.
WCW used to do that all the time.
Yeah, AEW was selling out legit, like that All Out thing, and the past couple things that they done all sold out. and they about to go to TNT and start weekly TV in October. So that's just a place for more wrestlers to go.
And I know they got better. Like, I don't know about better because I'm not. I mean, I know a little bit about wrestling, but what was that other one? Impact? Are they still a thing?
TNA
Impact.
Only on a technicality. Are they still a thing?
They're barely still. They're limping.
On top of that, I know.
They're like the ECW of the three. If ECW really sucked.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and then speaking of ECW, the other thing.
You're going to give me
on top, we're not going to get him signed to any of this right after this. No, but
I ain't going nowhere.
aside from
you don't want to be on Impact?
No, I don't.
Before
Ring
like
of Honor, nigga.
all these other ones coming up, the local, like the independent local scene has been growing.
Oh, that's booming.
Dude, I've heard about Hood Slam. I've heard about all these other ones, the lucha stuff happening, and then what are you part of right now?
So big time wrestling. I got my start at Pro Wrestling Revolution, which is all lucha libre and stuff like that. So and that was last year. Yeah, you see the mask right there. So I was there till probably April of this year. And then I started at BTW not too soon after that. So I've been over there for the past 4.
What made you get back into wrestling? Because I know you did I saw videos. We were hanging out with these guys of you drop kicking people and choking people.
I wasn't even capable of a drop kick back then.
It was. I don't know what to call it, but I just saw some intense moves at a park somewhere.
Yeah.
What made you get back into it? Because you're feeling better physically now, or is it just because that's your dream? Like, is that something you want to be?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of both. So. When you want to do something, it's probably like you in comedy. Like when you working or you doing something, you can still probably think of jokes. You still, even in the midst of your shift, you still probably thinking of jokes.
It's a disease. It's a disease. Oh my
God. Straight up. But it's just one of those things that no matter, like you said, even up until recently, you didn't really see yourself doing it like that.
Yeah.
But I can still guarantee that you was probably thinking back in the back of your head, you had thoughts about it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with me. Like, I didn't think that it was going to be possible for me because, number one, I was overweight, right? Yeah. And I didn't really think I was going to be able to do all that. Even by standards when I was doing stuff in backyard wrestling, I was overweight. I was overweight, like, in my mid-20s. Like, I wasn't overweight when I was doing, like, backyard wrestling, right? Yeah. I was in decent shape. Now I'm in better shape than in both of those stages. So I was more confident. And then I started to kind of see what was out there in wrestling and in the beginning stages, like in the indies, like you say.
Yeah.
And to some degree, they got some great athletes there. And then some people I'm not really impressed with. So I was like, oh, hell, if they can do that shit, I don't really see a reason why I can't, right? So then I was just like, okay, let me stop saying why I can't do something and tell myself, because I don't believe now that there's anything that I can't do, because everything I wanted to do, I did it already. You know what I mean? This is probably like one of the last things that I really wanted to do that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And then when I look at it and I'm like, okay, the training's hard as hell.
Yeah.
It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination at all, bro. Like
that on top of what you already do, it's gotta be hard.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, my body already be racked from just doing training and stuff like that, right? From keeping myself together, keeping my clients together and all that. Then you add in the bumps and bruises and everything that you got going on, in the ring. With a ring, a lot of people think it's like soft and fluffy. It's not. So you got the 4 corners, which are the ring posts, turnbuckles, and all that stuff, right? That keeps everything stable. On the bottom of everything is steel rods. Those are the first things that go to keep the ring connected, like all 4 sides. On top of the steel rods, you put on some wooden boards. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the other thing that keeps everything together. On top of the wooden boards, you put on a very thin ass layer of mat. What you would do yoga on, that's how thin that mat is. So that. Yeah, on top of the wood, and it's right on top of the wood.
Ouch.
So, yeah, right. And so, then they put the canvas on, and then they stretch it hella tight.
And then the ropes.
Yeah, and then the ropes. So then, and the ropes aren't even ropes; they're cable, that's how tied hella tight together and wrapped in like tape. That's why you get the like white ropes, black ropes, and all that type of stuff, or water hose.
And some feds got the nerve to put like freaking barbed wire around.
Yeah, but so if you're not hitting the ropes right or anything like that, that was my first thing. Like when I was first there, the first couple times when I hit the ropes wrong, man, my back was all blood, like had the blood bruises and everything, bro. Like I hadn't got all that type of stuff happened to me, man. So
Jesus. And then on top of that, you get off, and then you got to come train me.
Nah, you know, it be them days though. It's just like if you care about something, that's the one thing. It was like I wanted to do it.
You're having fun.
I'm having fun, but then when I wanted to do it, but then when I started to do the moves and do things like that and start to really roll around, and I was like, hey, I really like this shit. This is really cool. Like I started to really love it.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things, you know, and being able to do lucha and then being able to kind of do a little bit more of the American style too, and seeing what the differences are, because like the way BTW trains, or you know, the way Big Time Wrestling trains is totally different from the way Revolution trains.
Yeah.
And it's two totally different things, and the way that they do things, the way that you know, even the demeanor in both federations is a little different. You know, I'd say Big Time is a little more kind of relaxed than Revolution is, but Revolution has like so many things going on, like events and all that stuff going on, that they got to kind of be a tight ship anyway.
Yeah,
you dig what I'm saying? So nothing wrong with either one. Like I said, Big Time just brought in Bret Hart and a whole bunch of other people from like New Japan, Impact, and all these other places. So both are like really big entities out in the Bay. It's just two totally different ways to do it. So I think I got a taste of both ways.
When do we expect to see you your first match?
Somewhere in the next few months.
Nice.
Because what I was talking to Scotty, like I got some things to work on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing good, man. Like, and I feel confident. You know what I'm saying? I feel confident in what I'm doing right now and how I'm moving and just in general. Like, I really do enjoy the wrestling like situation. Like I've been cutting promos, and that's probably like the strongest suit of mine, because I'm athletic and all that stuff, but I can talk. And I can you know what I mean, I can really convey whatever I want in audio form. You know what I'm saying? I can really get people's attention, and I got something to say, you know. And a lot of what I'm talking about right now is resonating with a lot of folks, like just in general, because I'm not even talking no cartoony shit that, you know what I mean, people don't get.
Nah, we cut a promo together.
And it's like I'm just I'm the same guy I am, just turned on like to probably 100. You know what I mean, with the wrestling situation.
Are you familiar with my wrestling knowledge is very limited, but are you familiar with Cosplay Wrestling Federation?
No.
So they perform at these cons at like SAC Anime and Fanime. I thought I hated wrestling,
right?
But seeing it live is way,
it's totally different.
It's
totally different. You know, and that's what got me back into it too. Was when WrestleMania came out here like a few years back.
Oh yeah.
I went to King of Indies, like it was at 2014, 2015, and just got back into that. Was an independent show ran by Gabe, who runs Revolution. So that was my first taste of what he was doing, and it was dope, man. Like, and it got me all the way back into wrestling, because I was like, of course, WrestleMania is there. Yeah, you don't go for that.
Yeah.
But just being able to see what people are doing and what's out there, like not WWE-ish, it was like, okay, I need to check this out. Yeah, you know what I mean? I need to check it out. It was athletic. It was competitive. It was just. It was dope. And then even when you go to different other places that have different themes of wrestling, like some stuff is more comedic, some stuff is more hardcore, where they throwing flaming
Hood
shit
Slam.
at
I heard Hood
Slam
is super violent.
Yeah, there's places like that, but it's something for everybody.
Right.
If you're a wrestling fan, you can find a niche, and that's why I like wrestling a lot, because you can find that place.
Well, bro, man, I'm really happy we had you come out here. I hope we have you out again.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe even co-host some of this sometimes.
Yeah, I'm all with it.
I know you're all with it.
Yeah.
We're just out of time, man, but it's been great having you on. You got any closing thoughts? Where people could find you online and where we can watch your stuff?
Yeah, so you can check out all the shows and everything at gotoworkfitness.com. The gear is there. Shows are there.
We need a Go to Work Fitness flag somewhere here.
Somewhere around here, man. Like, we got to get the
start filling this place up.
Yeah, man. So that you could get that. The new episode, like I said, with the We Run Richmond 5K is out, so check that out. You can check out Go to Work Fitness on YouTube. Then you can get in touch with me on Instagram at Go to Work Fitness, Evan L.G. Francis on Facebook, and, you know, just different things, man. We're doing a whole bunch. We're moving outside of just
Rich City Talent Showcase.
Rich City Talent Showcase coming soon. We can't forget about that, man. Hell no.
That was fun.
So
everyone here was there. That was a fun thing.
We got like a minute. Do we got 1 minute?
How much we got?
How much time? So check this out, man. The Rich City. Before we even get into,
proud of that.
Yeah, I'm
cheers
super,
to that. Cheers.
We
to,
almost
cheers,
forgot about.
We gotta have a whole episode on
because everything else that we talked about. I'm glad some of the stuff I haven't heard.
Yeah,
but man, that was a big night, dude.
So you know what? On par, like that showcase and everything is on par with any award I've won or anything like that, just because of what we was able to accomplish. Because
cheers to that, man. Because that was big. That was a big night for.
Straight up, cheers to
and
that.
That had nothing to do with officials. It was all us, artists coming together.
Straight up, and that's why I was proud, because it's like, it's crazy. Like you were saying earlier, people don't expect nothing out of us, man. Like, the people were surprised that they seen grass coming out the ground and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? like, so it's crazy, right? Like, people
things grow here.
But then from there, right? If you take a deeper look into that psyche, that just means people don't expect much to come out of here. Yeah. But we got so many talented people and people who are capable of doing great things out here. Yeah. They just need a place. They just need a platform. They just need a spot.
Stage.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. And when you're able to do that, bro, you can damn near accomplish some crazy things. Like, that showcase was insane, from the films to the comedians.
Shout out to Bridge for allowing that.
Yeah, shout out to them, man. Yeah. Like, for real.
Bridge Art and Storage Space.
I got a lot of love for them.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad we ran into that place. We went together when we did that film.
Yep.
You were there.
Yep. Straight up. Shout out to Iris and Jeff and the whole spot, man, because they opened it up and they really made it affordable, and they made us able to do something dope, for the community and bring people together. And the cool thing is that now a lot of dope people know about that spot. You know what I mean? So it can be a hub for people now.
I mean, when you got the date for the next show?
October 20th.
October 20th.
That's the next thing, man. So we just gotta continue, and then from there, we're gonna try to do this thing bi-monthly. So every 2 months, we're gonna give y'all a showcase, assemble a lineup that's worthy of a great show. Because what I figure is, the first one, that was the established thing. Yeah. Like, we got to get the cameras on, we got to, and now we're going to show people, like, yo, this is why you should come here. This is a scene builder. This is something that's I really feel like if we really run with it and everybody gets involved like they want to get involved, I feel like this is going to be a show for us, by us, and everybody's going to prosper.
Right
on. And that's the vision. That's the vision I got for Richmond in general, bro. Like, from events to how we eat and how we view ourselves, how we view each other. I don't care about race. Like, the whole thing is, like, it's not a black town. It's not a Latino town. It's not a white town. That town, like, it's a minority, like, rural town, but we're so, like, equal in black and Latino influence right this second, that us unifying and seeing what our commonalities are is the best thing for us. You know what I'm saying? So for because we're all the same anyway. So for African Americans and Latinos of all different nationalities, for them to be able to come in and have a spot for them to be like, yo, I can display myself, and it's not it's not that deep, and I don't have to go through hoops to do it, because that's the main thing. You gotta go outside of your city. You gotta go outside of Richmond most of the time to get something done. Mm-hmm. We can help change that.
And that's why I like about, that they would like me to do the shows there, my shows there, because it took, I mean, it's cool to go to the city and go sightseeing. Yeah. But when you start, like when you go to a club or whatever out there to watch comedy, like, the tickets are expensive. Yep. Parking is expensive. Yep. And, that's what I like to bring here. So the people bring that experience here, which you guys covered on one of your episodes too.
Yeah, it's coming. And that's why I say it's crazy, because where else can you get top-notch comedy followed by great films, great short films, followed by like martial arts demonstration, followed by music, and all of it be good, and you don't have a fall off or a drop off there, and everybody's from the same, like everybody's from that area, or around the area. Like, it's something dope, and it's big, something different.
It's gonna get bigger.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the episode to drop.
Oh, so right on, man.
I feel like that's gonna change the game.
I was a guest host. Change the game. I guest hosted that day.
I ain't even seen what you did yet.
I'm afraid of seeing how that looks like.
I ain't even seen what you did yet, man. I'm like, man. That's why I was thinking about it. I was like, yesterday when you had sent me well, it was Saturday, I think, but you had sent me the episode for the 5K. I was like, the talent showcase is next. I was thinking about, I wonder what I did on that one, right? Like, I wonder how I was like, I didn't do the intro. Yeah. None of that shit you did. So I was like, I'm
nervous about how that's going to look, but man, we look forward.
I liked it. I like the intro.
Yeah.
We're going to definitely have you back.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us in the Voice Party. Any of you guys have any last closing thoughts you want to say? All right.
I want to hear you hit him with the 3 H's.
Oh, that's what I was just about to say. I was just about to say that you beat me to it by a millisecond. You already know what to do. So this will be the closing then.
Yeah.
We'll just do that. You know what? On behalf of JD, Gaspar, Joaquin, Phil, everybody else on the Voice Party, on behalf of Mr. Go to Work himself, King Francis, Evan L.G. Francis, the whole city of Richmond and beyond, we want to tell y'all to go ahead and eat healthy, speak healthy, live healthy. Got to do the hand wave and all that. Go to work. You know it. Yeah.
That's a wrap. Thank you.
Wrap.